is your motive, motivation, or intention for doing something? Think about that for a moment. Because in your motive or your motivation or even your intention for doing something, it will change how you approach what you do. So I want you to think about these 3 different categories for approach. When you approach something, is it because I need to do it, I want to do it, or I have to do it? Because with each of these, your approach is going to be completely different. So let's think about that for a moment. If you approach something out of a need to do it, well, we need to eat. We need to drink water. So what is our approach? Those are really kind of the things that we do to take care of ourselves, to take care of others, whatever the case may be. We need to do it. All right? But now let's look at the second one. Is our motive and our motivation because I want to? This is what fuels our desires, our passions. I have a great video I encourage you to watch on your passion or what you're passionate about. Okay? So those are the things we want to do. And sometimes they can be the things that drive us into what we do all the time because I want to do it. You think about a little kid. Why did you do that? Because I wanted to. Okay? Did you need to do that? No, but I wanted to. So if we get into that habit of always filling our wants, that can be a problem. All right? So then our last one, because I have to. All right, so think about that for a moment. Those are perhaps the ones that we're most resistant to. Those are the ones that we tend to balk at. Those are the ones that we tend to procrastinate with because you have to. I have to go to work because I have to make money, because I have to provide for my family, because I have to pay the mortgage, whatever the case may be. So if we look at it as a have to, we can get a really, really bad attitude. And then that changes our approach. So what is it that you are doing each and every day? Are you doing it out of I have to, I want to, or I need to? All right? So let us look at another example. What is another good example of an have to, need to, or want to? Because with every person, it's a little bit different. So I want you to write that in the comments. What is it that you operate in each day? Do you operate in each of those 3 categories? Or do you operate more in the have to, or more in the want to, or more in the need to? If you're the caretaker of someone, it's often a need to or a have to maybe keep them alive. Obviously, if you're a nurse or a doctor and you go to work every day, well, you're going to have a have to in cases of emergency, but also a need to. But is it a want to? Because if you're not wanting to do that, then it can become quite a burden. Okay? So what about when you get up in the morning? How do you approach the day? What is your approach in beginning a day? I have to get out of bed. Well, probably you do. Okay, but do you want to get out of bed? Do you need to get out of bed? Or have you ever even really thought about it? I think these are questions that often we don't even consider until we stop to consider them. And we stop to say, gosh, I don't know. I don't know if I'm operating out of need or want or have to. If you are always procrastinating, then what are you operating most likely in? You're operating in the have to, and you don't want to do it. So then you tend to go to, well, I want to do this. So the things you get done all the time are the things you want to do. Ooh, I want to eat, so I'm going to go make myself a big sandwich. Ooh, I want to go buy something, so I'm going to go to the store. Okay? But then that can interfere with what you need and also what you have to do in going to work. And then you have to work more because you're spending more, because you want more, because then it just drives. It's that constant cycle of around and around and around where you're really not getting anywhere, which then leads to the next videos that will come up for you is your attitude and making an adjustment to that attitude of why are you doing what you're doing and how can you change that to do what you want to do within reason. Okay, you can't spend your entire day doing what you want to do all the time. A lot of times you won't get anything accomplished. Or maybe you love to drive. Okay, well, then you're going to have to get gas money to drive around and a vehicle and everything else. So where are your priorities falling? I want you to think about that. Then what can you make an adjustment to your attitude in the approach of that? Because in doing so, you're going to make a huge impact on your life in approaching that with a whole different attitude. Because as we look at these different things, and as we look at all these videos that I post, they're really more of thought-provoking teachings. They're more of how can I approach my day? How can I approach my life in a different way? I give you examples, but then I encourage you in everything I teach you to apply it to your life. Because without that application, how are you going to change things? And I am not saying to you, go and try and change things right away. Everything. Oh, I have to change this and this and this and this. No, 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 no. I want you to take one step, one thing at a time. And maybe you'll come back and play this video again and say, aha, now I know why my approach is off. I need to make this even small change, just a tweak to what you are doing. Because in doing so, you get into that success zone. And why do I call it the spiritual success zone? Because everything we do must be blessed and must be driven by God, must go back to Him. For Lord, why am I doing this? Why do I have a need to always do this? Or why am I always wanting to do this? But when it comes to those have-tos, I don't want to do it. Okay, so think about that. Then two, one more thing I just want to give you to think about is how did you grow up? If you grew up in a home where you were always told you have to do this, this, and this before you can do this. So your wants were placed here, and then your have-tos were placed here, and you could not get here until you completed all these have-tos. So then as we get older, then we say, well, shoot, I'm not going to have to do that anymore. I'm going to operate in the wants. Well, guess what? There has to be a balance. And that balance is our approach to any given situation, and to examine that approach. We don't want to live our lives in any one of those three and have a burden of any one of those three. Sure, we'd like to operate in the wants. Okay, those are our desires. And that's all well and good as long as it has balance. But there's certain things we have to do. You have to pay your mortgage or your rent to have a place to live. You have to do that. You don't have a choice if you want a place to live. Okay? But you may want to travel the world, but that's not something you have to do. All right? And is it something you need to do? So think about your approach today. What is your approach to what you have on your plate today? And can you change that approach to be what is best for you? Then I encourage you to watch the next video on attitude to see if your attitude is getting in the way of your approach. So thank you. Enjoy the next video, and I'll see you soon.